everybody knows. Sorry. But yeah, so if you don't have a blessing book is nothing more than a notebook of any shape and size that you want. It doesn't have to be fancy. You can go to Michael's for $5, go to the dollar store. You can get a spiral notebook. It's really up to you, but I would encourage you to actually like take these actions and do them and prove out that it doesn't work for you before you're like, this doesn't work for me. Because I think you will find that your perspective and your outlook will change.
What did I miss?
I was just talking about the goal. I talked about the goals and for referrals and the blessing book and affirmations.
Oh, I love my blessing book.
So just so you guys know, Doretha.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Just so you guys know, Doretha has been doing 7L for some months now.
Since October.
Yeah.
October, yeah.
Yeah, so it seems like a long time, but you've done a lot in a little bit of time. So she's been doing a lot of these things and will give us feedback. So Rick and Coach have the conversation about, well, what are your sales goals for the next 12 months? Do you know your sales goal, Lynn, since you're right here? I already know Doretha's.
1 a month.
1 a month, so you have 12. What's the average here?
The average
cost?
About 150.
So that'll put you about 6 million?
I can't do that math.
Okay,
so 18 million.
18 million. So we'll be at about 18 million.
No, 1.8 million.
1.8 million. For 12 and a half? For 12 deals?
Okay, let me get out my calculator.
I think you were right at 18. Anyway, so that's where Lynn is going to be. Brenda, do you have your sales goal for this year?
I do.
Would you like to share?
Sure. And just to let you know, I apologize, but I have to leave early.
Okay.
Next Friday, I should be able to have the full hour. And we do have we're doing a vacation. So the week after that, I won't be able to attend. But I will be reading the book and following along again because I want to do a couple really nice events this year and hope to get some ideas from you gals.
Oh yeah, we'll definitely help.
I've been a realtor since starting my 5th year this March.
Congratulations.
My first year, thank you, was just, startup. My 2nd year, my oldest son passed away, so that year was a fog and a mess. And then the year after that, we moved. But so last year with this new company and this new territory, I had 12 sales. And year before. So then just last year, 2019, I doubled my business. I had 24 sales.
Look at you grow.
Yeah. So I'm excited. Last year was 3.5 million. We're kind of a rural area, near a resort area. So nice. I hope to get into the $1 million homes this next year, break through to some of that somehow.
That's right.
So yeah, I mean, I should have a double again goal, but
awesome.
Saying 5 million this year.
Okay, so we're gonna get to the next thing that Coach says is to triple that number.
Oh, no way.
Yep. And I don't know so much that it is that you strive to go to actually be like, hey, triple it, because depending on where your goal is at, that truly could potentially be unattainable, but the reality of it is that there's a will, there's a way, and it might not be like, so I follow an agent that closes 100 deals a year. Yeah. Well, his goal would be 300 deals, right? So is he going to do all 300? No. But does that mean in that year he becomes a team? And that just makes his perspective change. You start looking at things differently. So I will tell you guys, like, my goal number is 38 million. But the reason it's 38 million is because my goal is to get the money to pay my house off by referring deals out to agents across the nation. So reaching out to my own personal sphere nationwide to find people who are looking to buy or sell so that I can refer them out. And when you're only getting a quarter of the commission, you have to find $38 million in business. So, but with those numbers that big, you start to look at things differently. It creates a sense of urgency.
Yeah.
And you're just like, okay, well, how am I going to get this 38 million or 15 million or, whatever that number is going to be so that I can reach this goal? Like, who do I need to be? Do I need to get in here at 8 a.m.? Do I need to get in the office? Do I need to wake up?
6 a.m.
Yeah. Do I need to start, connecting with my people differently? Like, how do I step up this game? Do I need to start? I know one thing Doretha's working on in her head is I need to start outsourcing activities that aren't dollar producing.
Right.
And how do I do that? What does that look like? So then your mind starts going in that direction, whether you're searching online or talking to other agents in or out of your market, just exploring ideas. So that's where I think the power of tripling that number lies. And then he says to put that number all over your mirror, your computer, your office, your phone, your car. Like, just keep it before you daily.
Hey guys, if you can see it, this is my cell phone, and I keep my little piece of paper in my cell phone. So I always have it with me.
Show it again so Lynn can see it.
So this is my case to my phone, and I have my numbers with me at all times. So it's just a little reminder to me that I always have my goals with me. I always have my goals and with me at all times.
And I'll share, since it's recorded, like on my phone, my number is like on my background.
Nice.
And I lied. My number's 35, not 38.
Right.
I'd go for 38.
Don't know what I was
A
thinking.
little extra money for
Yeah.
projects.
So now we get into the epitaph and the eulogy. It's an exercise that he has Rick do to really think about how does he want the people who are most important to him to remember him, like when he passes. And what this does, I encourage everybody to do it, as weird as it seems, because you really start to think about, like, how do I want to be known? Like, do I just want to be known as like, oh, Monique was nice and she liked bacon and Chick-fil-A?
And
Like,
running.
and running, like,
So she could eat bacon and
and
Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A. Like, yeah, that's nice, but really, like, if you could be the fly on the wall, hearing how people talk about you, what would you hope to hear? So my thing is I truly want to be known for being irrationally generous. Like, that's something I learned in my church. Like, they said it, but I never really understood what it meant. And like, you're just generous, whether it's your time, your money, your efforts, your information, in areas that, like, not everybody is generous, So so think about that. How do you want not just your friends, like that client that you served one time, like, how do you want them to tell someone else about you while you're living, And then after you do that, once you start thinking about that, you start thinking about, how do I align not only my actions, but the things that I do in my business around it. Like, maybe you stop doing certain things. Like, if you, like, let's say you're somebody who's a health nut. Everybody knows a health nut, right? But then that same health nut goes out drinking every night of the week. And you're like, well, that doesn't really align. So that person might be like, oh, maybe I should stop doing that if I want to be known for healthy living, or like clean living or something like that. So there's definitely some sacrifice to be made along the way. There's the perfect voicemail greeting, which is really long, and people don't want to put it on their phone because it's really long, and they're like, nobody wants to listen to that. Nobody wants to listen to any voicemail message. But the reason it's long is it caters to the 4 disc personality types. And I'll read it since Brenda doesn't have the paper, and neither does Jennifer or Lynn. It says, thank you for calling the office of Monique Harps. As always, you may press 7 to skip this greeting at any time to leave your message. Again, you may press 7 to skip this greeting. Because I want to provide you a level of service that makes it very easy and very comfortable for you to refer real estate like buyers or sellers to me. I will be returning calls 11 a.m. to noon and 4 to 5 p.m. today. So after the tone, please leave your name, your number, all the details and information you can provide so that I can better prepare myself to return your call. And also please leave the name of the person who referred my services to you so that I can get a prompt thank you out to them for that endorsement. Thank you for calling. Have a great day. And remember, with Monique Harps, you whatever. Like, so slow name and slogan. And they say to put that on your phone because it caters to, you guys are familiar with this, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it, like the skip to 7, or push 7 to skip, that caters to the D personality. You know, it caters to the I to make them feel included and important, the S, the C, all the details, you know, so that kind of thing. Then, does anybody else have an issue with procrastination?
Oh,
Right, everybody.
everybody.
So he
But
has,
it's not necessarily always procrastination. It's like I have so many things, and then so I just skip this one and go on to this one. 'Cause,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
Right.
there's
Yeah.
so many.
yeah, so he has an exercise called Do It Now. And
Yes.
basically
Yeah, I like
3
that.
times a day, you say, do it now, do it now, do it now, do it now, 50 times, 49 times.
But why
And-
49, not 50?
Because 7 is his favorite number and 7 times 7 is 49. You can do it 50
But
times.
7 times 7?
It's 49.
Well, yes, but.
That's just his favorite number. There's no
okay,
other.
So instead of just saying do it 7 times.
Yeah,
because-
somebody asked the author why
Right.
49.
So instead of saying 77 times.
Yeah.
I mean, you just, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. And so I do it at stoplights. If I think about it, I do have a timer on my phone. Goes off at like 6, 11, and I think 4:30, and then just say it.
Okay.
And it makes a difference because I definitely, so I think it's all, I think all this was cheesy before I tried it. But I was like, if it worked for him, I'm trying this,
Yeah.
right? I'm like, yes, we're going to do this.
I'll try.
So I did it. And then
Gotta
one
try more
day,
than once though.
I remember I walked out my house and there was a box on the edge of the couch and I was just like, oh, I'll get that later. And I shut the door and I was like, nope, I'm going to do it now.
Do it now.
Exactly. So I know it was working. I know it was working. And then next he has Rick write power notes. And in those power notes, this is where people kind of get tripped up. He tells Rick to write 50 power notes. I'm not telling you to write 50 power notes in the next week. But like, let's say Rick was in coaching for 6 months. So in the next month, write 50 power notes kind of thing, you know? If you can do them in a week, do them in a week. Go ahead, Doretha.
It gets easier as you go further into the process, because when I first started this, I couldn't even do 10. I was like, what in the world? Who am I writing and why am I writing to them? But as I got into it and I did my calendar for the year and I planned my events and I started thinking about my clientele, that made like the power notes just, I mean, now I have to have a day of prep to write my power notes.
Yeah,
Because
so just
remember,
so
I
you guys
told you I
know,
had to do
she
the-
prepares her power note stuff on one day and then she writes them the next day.
Okay.
So she can smolder over it and make sure she's got it. it's
I
all
don't
that
know.
I think it's.
Do you
so-
prep? Do you just prep so it doesn't take you so long in one day, or do you
Yes,
prep because you need to think
because-
about it?
I do everything handwritten. Like I put mine, I don't have a label for my name and my address. I
Mhm.
do that handwritten. I do their address handwritten. I put the stamp on. And I have different ones that I use because they just have to be unbranded. So I have this one and I have several other kinds that I use. So I just try to think about the person and think about what I want to say to them, what I want to invite them or thank them for doing. So
Yeah.
it gets kind of like writing your name over and over again. It gets kind of sloppy. So
Yeah.
if I'm just
Okay.
having a day, where I do everything, fill everything in. So now I can sit down and actually write the power note. And then
Okay,
just slide
got
it
it.
right in the envelope and it's ready to go out.
Awesome, awesome.
Do you track your power notes and when you send them out and when you get a response, if you get a response, and then any leads?
I track how many I sent out. I'm not tracking the person right now. I can remember the ones that I sent it to. I track that I got, if I wanted to get 10 out that day or 15 out that day, that's what I track. And then, did y'all talk about the PS yet?
No, not yet.
Okay, so you always have a PS, and
Right.
then I wait for those to come back. I track those if they actually do the PS. And sometimes it's like, hey, send me a text message to let me know that you got this, or I may ask them a question, especially if it's someone, like I had 4 people on my Facebook that are clients that are not doing well health-wise. So I say, hey, just reach out to me, let me know you got this, and let me know what the doctor said, or let me know if you need me to bring you something, because one had a surgery on her foot and her knee, and she was like, oh my God, thank you, Doretha, we don't need anything, but I can't believe you would come over out here and bring something. So that's how I track it. And then she said, you know, my son Brandon got married, and I was showing Brandon a 2-bedroom condo, but he married a girl with 3 kids. She said, and I'm thinking about and doing investment property. She said, can I buy his property and you help him find something else? Of course.
Yeah.
But it's because and she told me, I've been meaning to reach out to you. I've been meaning to call you. And by me reaching out to her first, we get that ball rolling. So I didn't know 2 transactions coming out of that, but 2 transactions are coming out of that.
Nice.
So
Yeah, and that's in her sphere. That wasn't like she had to go like hunt for
yes,
it. And so the PS that
this
she
is our
talks
5th
about,
transaction together.
you said it's about how many transactions?
Our 5th one.
Oh, it'll be their
We've
fifth
already
one.
completed 5, so this would be number 6 and 7.
6 and 7.
Do you all ever write a power note to somebody you don't know? Like
I
maybe
have.
you saw them in the paper?
You can do that. You can do that. I haven't done that. Like when I came down here, I had a list of agents that I invited to the referral mastermind. Yeah, that said that they were going to come to the info session, and so I sent every one of them a power note as an example of this is how it works. Like you guys are all
Right.
here, and people told me, she's like, you know, when I committed to you when I got that note.
Mhm.
I would already signed up, but when I got your note, I knew I was going.
Right.
You know, and if I was going to be in the area, I promise you, this girl would be an amazing referral source. Like, she was like, I should get my license and just refer people out. I'm like, you probably do a lot of business, because, you know, a lot of agents don't want to do the legwork to get the deal. They just want to do the deal.
Right.
I was like, you can get all the business. She could charge a high referral fee too, and be like, oh, they'd be like, oh, that's how much you want. Here you go, take it. But yeah, so the PS is really to make them come back to you.
Right.
So I put my generic PS. So back up. So in that message, I was just like, oh, thank you for RSVPing. You know, your sphere is in for a real treat as you learn more about how to earn their referrals through acts of love, appreciation, and generosity. You know, and then I was like, because of you, lives will be changed. And then it said, P.S. Call me when you get this. And I put my phone number. And a couple people called, and because people are curious and they're like, I don't know her. Why does she want me to call her? You know? So a couple people did call, and those are the people who actually showed up. You know, the ones that I actually talked to, they showed up. There's people who didn't that showed up, but the ones that I did talk to definitely showed up. And it just kind of just shows you the escalation in the pyramid, right? The bottom where the informational zone. So when I sent out the email invite, that was informational zone. When they RSVP'd, we're still in the informational zone. But once I sent that handwritten note, as an effort to take us out of information and into influence and communication, and then into influential zone by them showing up, and then from there. And anyone who didn't show up, I didn't go back to, because these people already raised their hand and said they were interested in doing and in being in relationship with me.
Right.
Same with if you went and took a whole city block or neighborhood and sent out a cards to all of them about buying or selling. The ones who call you back are the ones that you want to be in business with you. The ones who didn't call you back don't. So why spend the time and energy on those when you can double down on the ones who are
Right.
interested? So yeah, so you always want the PS is what gets them to call you back. And you can tell them whatever, like it could be anything. Call me back. I have something I want to share with you. Let's get together for coffee, Chick-fil-A, whatever, right?
I'm Panera Bread.
Real quick, my neighbor approached me about listing her house
Mhm.
for sale. And we have several rentals in the neighborhood. I've already talked to one tenant who had thought about buying a house. And I said, oh, where? And she was like, I don't really care as long as it's in Gulfport. I was like, how about 2 doors down?
Yeah.
And she was like, really? But anyway, because I'm in the neighborhood, would it be more powerful if I sent a handwritten note or if I actually went to visit them personally?
The listing people, the people who want to list.
No, my neighbors that
Yeah.
said, hey, if you have any friends who are
Well-
looking to buy or thinking about moving, I'm getting ready to list this house, or I just listed this house.
Yeah. So you talking to them puts you in the more in the influential zone than you
Then-
writing them a
then a
note.
note. Okay.
So Elizabeth Riley, which we all know, she talks about how when she went to her neighborhood, she said she had a small neighborhood. What did you say? 45 houses?
41 houses.
41 houses. And so she went to each one and like knocked and met the neighbors. But then like a week later, she sent out a message letting everybody know that she was in real estate, kind of thing. So in your situation, if it's just about this house, I would knock them, because that gives you that one-on-one and whatever. If you have the house listed, I would go and do the whole open house thing, because it is your community,
Right.
and invite them with the knock, with an invitation. And in that one, I'd probably do a more official invitation, like printed it out, and you could maybe hand deliver it or put it in the mail, because how often are we getting invitations besides wedding in the mail?
Right.
And then maybe do that open house a little bit above what you would normally do, because it's not about the house, it's about the people. So you're inviting them for this experience to basically showcase, like, oh, I'm a great realtor, to see if they want to buy the house. So make it more like that.
If the sellers are open to it.
If the seller,
open
yeah, if the
house.
sellers are open to it, that kind of thing. Because you're kind of going to kill two birds with one stone in that regard.
Right.
When it comes to like events and stuff though, like depending on the size of your community, if you do want to become known, you could have like a community event. Is this a HOA by any chance? Perfect.
Not at this point.
You can be like, okay, we're doing a community like ice cream day, and bring in an ice cream truck that you and your vendor sponsor. And I mean, if you got the funds, sponsor yourself. I don't care. But you could do that, and then that could be like a door knocking, an invitation process, to the point where your goal is to collect their information so that they are now part of your sphere. And then you can send a handwritten note that says, thank you for attending. Or if you go door knock, send a thank you note that says, thank you for talking with me and, taking that time. If somebody sends you a referral, thank them for their time and effort that they put in to send you the referral, and for their trust and their support.
Okay.
And then P.S., let me know when you get this, and put your phone number. It's like that simple. And in the beginning, if you're just looking for reasons to send a power note, thank people for being a good friend, a good neighbor, a good teacher, whatever.
Right.
I love how you're always happy. I mean, it does not take much to make somebody's day,
Right.
especially in our society where nobody's getting complimented on anything anymore, but you get ripped apart
But you do something
for the
wrong.
slightest
Right.
thing,
Right.
you know? I told somebody that like their shirt was nice or something. They circled back like 6 hours later and was like, I'm really glad you said that to me. What? And you don't really even think about like what your words
Right.
can do.
And my husband in his dog lesson said, but don't be disingenuous or don't oversell it.
Mhm.
A simple, hey, I like your shoes is enough.
Yeah.
Don't do shoes in that dress. Oh my gosh, what'd you do with your hair? Because then they're like, what do you want?
You're doing the most.
Yeah.
You're doing the most.
Right.
Yeah.
So
And
2
so,
seconds of praise for your dog. That's all he
Mhm.
needs.
and then also understand, and also know your community. Like, because what we're doing here, Lynn, can be transferred into your husband's business as well, right? It's
He
not
doesn't need
really, but do you want his market? Do you want to sell to his
Yeah,
people?
I know,
All right
I
then.
know.
All right then. So then he
Yeah.
needs to.
He's
You know.
pretty good at talking them up and, hey, I like your house. But anyway.
But you
yes,
know what
I
I'm
will.
saying? Like the whole building it, like, and making it part of a whole instead
Right.
of just being like, oh.
So my agency could sponsor a new leash for the dog.
What
Right?
do
You know what I mean? Like
Oh,
his-
him?
selling. He has leashes available to purchase
Oh,
at
yeah.
the dog lesson,
Yeah.
but he could say, and this
Yeah.
is a gift from my wife with VXP Realty, and hand them a
Yeah,
card
you
and
could
a leash.
You could
put it
do
in a
that.
bag.
Or do they know who you are as his wife? I mean, it's small town.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like even if there was just like a thank you,
Mhm.
to thank them for their business to him, from what you say, he's not
you go.
necessarily looking for more business,
Right.
but that's a way to help build he is an extension of you as you are an extension of him in the bigger community.
Mhm.
So when you're doing these dog rescues, why aren't his people being invited?
Right.
Right.
So once they're invited, they know who you are, and now they're part of your bigger
Mhm.
community. Like that's just what I'm getting at, is like these tactics that we're talking about here in the real estate world apply to all these other people that we can support and that they can do it themselves.
Right.
I asked like 3 different people for referrals last week, and all of them emailed me the name and information for it. Not one of them connected me to that other person. And I'm just like, dude, get your life together. What? That would make them look so much better to those
Yes.
people for referring to me,
Right.
referring me to them, So yeah, so be mindful of how you're connected and how it can benefit you, both you and the other person,
Mhm.
And so, because until your husband says, I don't need any more business,
I got a phone call from
He's
the divorce
growing.
attorney this week. He's saying that the court has ordered them to sell the house immediately.
yeah.
Awesome.
Are you already friends
it
with
a
that
good
divorce
deal?
attorney?
Is it a
Yeah.
good deal? Can
I
I
don't know yet.
renovate it?
We'll see.
So back to the power notes, there are 7 steps, and it's on page 52 of the paperback book. I don't know about the hardback book because mine is a hardback.
It's
And then
in chapter 3 at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the last thing he mentions is success stories. And the idea behind the success story is instead of just being like, oh, just sold, just listed, you talk about how you know the person maybe, like, oh, in your case, it's a dog rescue. You might be like, yeah, me and Susie met 3 years ago when she came to, volunteer with us, or she got a dog and whatnot. And then I'm just so happy to help her and her pup get a new home, blah, blah, blah. It could be that simple. And then you share it. But if you have 12 of those, you can share in the book. Social media wasn't what it was when the book was written. So in the book, he says, share number 1 in January via email, and then number 12 in January via mail. So people, if they see both, they see 2 different stories. So if you have 12 stories and you put them on circulation, like you can push out from you a different story every week on a different media. So story one could be in a newsletter in January, and then in March it's on Instagram, in June it's on LinkedIn. So it's the same story, it can be featured 5 times. You know, so you can really like work that to, you know, have people seeing what you're doing without being like just listed, just sold. You know, that's fine, everyone's doing it, but how do you make it more personal? And as you're serving your people, they kind of know each other. So then, oh, Susie bought a house, you know, that's so great, you know, whatever. Or I saw that, like this last referral we got, she was like, yeah, Becky is wants to put her house on the market, and she asked if you guys could help her out. Like, no listing appointment, nothing. It wasn't a competitive situation. It was just like, hey, they sold your house, can they sell mine?
Right.
And it was more like, will they help me? Like, never mind that. Like, yeah, we're gonna help you for sure. Don't you go nowhere else.
Right.
Don't pick up the phone because they might hear. Do not go to your Facebook because you're gonna get ads. So yeah. So that was chapter 3.
Awesome.
And then there's steps to write your success story.
Now that wasn't in the Audible, but it did say you can go to 7lbooks.com/resources to find.
And that's old, so it's the referral library now.
Right, I did see that. But you can still type that in and it goes to.
Yeah,
referral
it'll
library.
get you where you need to go. But yeah, so it's all good stuff. It takes time to build. And you don't have to pick your stories. Like, I mean, if you're doing 100 deals a day like Jennifer does, then you might want to be selective. But then you don't have to worry about it, right? Like, Jennifer, there's no reason for you to be even considering, based on what I hear from you, at the rate that you get referred by your sphere, you don't even have to be concerned about Facebook or Instagram. Right. But at no point in any conversation with anyone should you be like, man, I really need to work on my Facebook business page. Like, no, you don't need it. And honestly, nobody needs it if they work on their sphere. Because working on our Facebook page takes time away from working on our sphere. Yeah, and it's just like, what for? And it's the same thing. And it's just because the real estate world has been so kind to let us know that we need to be doing specific activities. And if you're not doing those exact activities, then there's no way to be successful. You know, if you're not cold calling and door knocking and open housing it up every day,
Our market.
then you
open
can't be
houses
successful.
Are just not successful at all.
Well, I mean, who is successful? If you're not Turk on
Right.
HGTV,
Oh, yeah.
like,
Yeah.
Now, Lucy.
you know, like, who's gonna like be like, unless you are known for your open houses because you have very selective group, meaning you probably only do the open house for like the neighbors, or you're like, oh, we're gonna do open house, but we're gonna invite everyone you know,
Right.
like, or
Well,
you
we
only
did.
do like upper, the higher
High end.
price, high end.
Or brokers only. Why?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
I mean, so you can preview my house anytime.
Yeah,
You know, I don't need
you
to
got a
feed
super
you.
key. You got a super key.
Right. Don't
Yeah.
need to feed you.
So,
Whatever. Anyway.
so yeah, so once you start, I think, and this takes a lot of perspective change for a lot of people to like wrap their mind around, especially if they are really bought into like, I want to be social media, everything, then it's really hard for them to do referral. Even though social media can really help them with referral, it's really hard. Or even like, oh, I need to be cold calling. Well, if you're cold calling 3 hours a day, you don't have time to call your people,
Right.
you know, because
Right.
they take way more time to call because I call you, we talk for 10 minutes,
Right.
You know, so at best, if everyone answers the phone, I can get 6 calls in an hour. Cold calling, I can dial 100 numbers in an hour because they don't talk to me. So just because I'm dialing 100 numbers does not mean that I'm going to be successful.
Right.
You know, so it's a hard perspective to change. I had challenges with
You have
it.
to figure out how to make a cold call or warm call.
Well,
I mean,
Yeah.
it's- I mean,
No,
it's
Especially
not
when
like-
they
she's
get-
saying just don't even make the
No,
cold calls,
no.
call your sphere.
Call you sphere. I mean,
Yeah.
then everything comes with
Warm call.
Yeah. I'm not saying don't call. You
Cold
should be.
calls,
No, you should. No.
That's
You shouldn't
what-
have to cold call.
Yeah,
That's a cold call.
Yeah, if you call the people you know, and you know what, some of those calls are cold because you haven't called them in years. I called my uncle the other day, and I was like, man, I'm a terrible niece.
Let
can't
me
remember.
start by, I'm a terrible niece.
Yeah, that's how I started. I did because I hadn't talked to him in forever.
Yeah.
But here I was calling him and being like, hey, Uncle Chris, I need your help. You know, if there's anyone in Dallas looking to buy or sell and they need an agent, let me know so I can help get them connected to somebody without them having to just like go blindly into it.
Mhm.
So, you know, a little awkward at first, but whatever. We got through it. So yeah. But any questions?
Did we lose Doretha? Is she still there?
She's on a phone call.
Oh.
She's about to get off, so she's probably gonna tell us something.
Any questions?
But yeah, I'll email you guys the study guide. Did Dodie not email them out to you guys?
Yeah, I have it in my email. I printed them there at home.
Okay.
What did she give us?
The study guides.
Oh,
Oh, I think you emailed it.
yeah, it was on the, yeah. Mhm. It was on the email.
Okay, what I
All right. You missed everything. We're wrapping up. Do you have anything to share on chapter 3 with these people who are kind of new to 7L?
I put a note, hold on.
She said she made a note for y'all.
And in chapter 3 where it talks about success suicide, is that chapter 3? Because I read
Is that
chapter 3.
Yeah, it's either
That's
3 or
chapter
4.
3. That's
Mhm.
chapter 3. I like that because I had these power notes to write and I had my events, but I also had my clients to take out. And so I went like 3 days without going into my office. And I was like, oh my God, I'm approaching success suicide. So, so what I did was I went back to making sure that my office was completely clean. And I made sure that I go in there every day because I was getting away from writing my power notes. I was getting away from making my phone calls. I was getting away from, reaching out to my clients and sending them personal messages. And then I was like, but that got me to the point where I am today, where I have all these extra people to work with. So that's why I was like, okay, I got to get right back on the bandwagon. And so I just readjusted my time. I got up earlier because, I do my miracle morning. So now I get up at 5:30 in the morning. I know you were 4:30. I'm 5:30. I have my quiet time. And like I already have my envelopes and everything ready. And I'm able to write my letters. And so when I walk out my door, my letters are in my bag and I just drive past the post office and drop them off. So these things got me to where I am now. So I can't afford to not continue to do those.
Right.
Boom. That was my statement.
Yes. Yes.
Actually do that. This-
Right. Like, so Jennifer here is referral based, has no business cards, and gets referrals all day, every day, right?
Yeah.
And she just said, imagine if I was doing that.
Well, getting up early.
Well, no, just like consistently, like pouring. Like she's not doing anything she doesn't have a system for her people to keep them bringing referrals. It's just like, that's just the way it's going right now.
Wow.
So she's saying if she was actually like reaching out and catering to them.
It
So,
would be amazing.
yeah.
And that's my word, amazing. So they're going to hear it a lot. It would be amazing.
So, yeah. So, I don't have anything else for you guys. Do you guys have anything else for me before I close this?
Bye, Teresa.
Bye.
All right. See you later.
Okay.